Hey guys, it's Olivia at OMG Artistry, Joyco brand storyteller, and we are in for such a treat today. So I'm actually going to be showing you my 6 foil technique using all Joyco products, of course. So make sure you guys are tuning in. Make sure you actually share this screen with all of your friends and your viewers on Facebook. So first and foremost today, what am I doing? I'm actually going to be creating a Brond ale look. So what is Brond ale? Think of almost like a nude, warm glow, okay? So you're gonna have beautiful, cool tones, you're gonna have warm tones in there, and I have the perfect model today. This is my friend Michelle. I've done her hair before. We actually work in the salon together. She's a hairstylist as well. We're located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is even really cool because the weather's still nice outside. I'm gonna show you a few pictures of her before, okay? So I have my trusty iPad here. So this is Michelle's hair before. So what I want to do is I actually want to start breaking up some of this lightness, and I'm going to do something today called layered low lighting, and I'll explain a little bit more later on. So I want to break up some of those waves in the back using layered low lighting. And then also I can show you utilizing my Stairmaster technique, how we're actually going to break up this darkness all over her hair, okay? So we're just gonna really do a nice little pick-me-up around her hairline, okay? So are you ready? I'm ready. Fantastic. So I'm actually gonna get started first and foremost with my #1 product, which is Defy Damage. This is the Pro Series #1, okay? So the Pro Series #1 is an ultra dry formula that you can actually apply to the hair before you get started. So what this does is it actually helps to repair the bonds in your hair before, during, and after your color service, okay? So shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Keep shaking it, okay? The more you shake it up, the more it actually will help to disperse the product, okay? So I'm actually gonna turn Michelle around, okay? And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to unclip her hair. And I've already sprayed this product in her hair prior to us actually going live. But just to give you an instance of what that looks like, I'm actually going to take her hair and I'm going to break this up, and I'm going to actually do it in little short spurts. Okay, so again, shake it up, shake it up. Does anyone have any questions as we're getting started? Hi.
Yes, will this video be saved?
This video will be saved. It will be available at Behind the Chairs page and Joyco's page. You'll also be able to find this video on my Instagram page, which is at OMG Artistry online. So as you can kind of see, I'm just bursting the product in the hair. Shake, 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 shake. And then that's when you're actually going to comb it out, okay? So you guys can just see on camera how absolutely gorgeous and shiny her hair already looks utilizing the product. So this product is actually already working inside of her hair, okay? So we're gonna turn her around. Now, the one thing about this layered toning and this Stairmaster is that we want to connect where the darkness is in her hair, okay? So I use this technique on her previous to when I was actually doing her hair. What we like to do is we like to always pick up these same pieces that we highlight and always leave out the lowlights that she has, okay? Because that way we're already reformulating the same type of technique every single time, and that's what this Stairmaster actually allows me to do, okay? So let's get right into it. So Mish, I'm gonna have you put your chin just right here. Do we have any questions?
Yes, Maureen wants to know if this technique is specifically made for curly hair.
The question is this technique specifically made for curly hair? No, this technique is made for anyone. So as you can see, she does have a little bit of wave in her hair, but this technique can be on any hair. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually taking a very small section right here in the front. So you're gonna think of this first section as like if you were highlighting, okay? So go right there. So I don't wanna take a lot. I actually just wanna take a very, very tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to do a highlight on her hair, okay? Can you guys all see? So I'm gonna take a very, very fine weave. Do we have any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually foiling the hair right here. I'm pushing it right up to the hairline, and I'm using my pinky pointer technique in order for me to be able to really push that foil right up to the root. Courtney, will you mix me up some blonde light for me? So today, guys, we're actually going to be using Blonde Life on her. We're going to be using the powder formula. So it's up to 9 levels plus of lift. So this is, it smells so good. It's actually awesome for the hair. So like I said, 9 levels plus of lift, okay? So we have so many beautiful oils inside of it. The hair feels so nice and it feels so healthy. Has anyone out there ever used the Blonde Life powder? It actually also comes in a cream as well, which I love for when I use my bleach at the root clients, okay? Beautiful. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to take this and I'm gonna put this right at the root. And we are not overlapping that blonde at all, okay? And then from here, I'm gonna take this. And as you guys can see with these foils, I actually got these foils from Color Track. I love these foils because they are incredible for filming. I do a lot of Instagram videos filming. They don't reflect and bounce off. They actually like absorb the tonality, and also it gives me a little bit more structure on top when I'm doing my foiling, which I love so much. So then this is the only time that I'm going to take a back-to-back section. Everything else I'm going to skip from there, okay? Give you a little closer up view to see what we're doing here. So I'm taking her hair. I'm gonna go even a little bit more thin. And guys, I'm only using 10 volume on here. The Blonde Life is incredible, and I don't wanna use anything like 30 or even 20 on her hair because I am getting started in the front. I do like to get started in the front because that's where we wanna see the most amount of lightness. So of course, that's where I want to start at a lower level. So then the next part that we're going to get into, and can you see how beautiful and creamy this lightener is? And you always want to make sure that you're fully saturating those sections. And I'm just folding up from there. Okay, so this is where our Stairmaster is coming into play. So what I'm doing from here is I'm going to actually skip a section right here. And I can already see where I've done her previous lowlights in her hair. I can look right here and I'm starting to see that lowlighty tone, okay? That is where I'm going to make sure that I put that hair back up because I've gone too far, okay, with my previous pattern. So I want to leave that there. It's always nice with lowlights if you don't have to do lowlights all the time. If it's their color inside of the hair, it makes for less product actually on that area. So today what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just go over those pieces to gloss. So I'm going to be using the Lumishine, the liquid on her, which is so beautiful. It actually is super shiny, but it also lasts up to 20 to 30 shampoos, which is really cool. So now this is where my technique comes into play. So what I like to do is I actually like to only push once and then a little bit more, okay? So because I want to still keep depth, you have to tease very low, okay? The lower the tease, the more depth at the root, okay? So we're gonna go about maybe like midway right here. And as I move, keep this in mind, as I'm moving back and over directing, which I'll show you, I'm going to go lower and lower and lower with my tease. So that helps the blend. I hardly have to do color melts anymore because this blend is so seamless. So if you're just tuning in right now, we're doing our Brond Ale look. So it's a mixture of cool and warm tones. But now what we're doing is, because I do her hair a lot, we're actually going to do like a pick me up for around the front of the face. And I'm going to show you how it connects to the back, okay? So I'm going to go right about here, push once, and then maybe just like a little push right there, okay? Doing a baby light formation. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Which product did you use to prep her hair with?
I prepped her hair with the Joico Defy Damage, and I used the Pro Series 1, which is going to help to protect her hair before, during, and after the chemical process. So right here, what I just did was, do you see how my foil is right here underneath? So I'm actually, what I'm going to do as I over direct forward, I'm going to land those foils in the same exact space every single time. Okay, so bring it forward, it's going to land here. So we'll have this much space. This, for people that are doing balayages out there, for foliage, balayage, anything like that, this technique is extremely, extremely consistent when it comes to re-seeing those areas that you've already previously lightened, okay? So I'm doing a slight feathering, but a highly saturated feathering, okay? So what I like to do is I like to swipe my lightener down, okay? And then I like to go back in with a second layer. So you don't want it to be thin. You always want your lightener to be a little thicker in this area because number one, saturation is key, right? But why is saturation key? Saturation is key because that's what allows the hair to keep lifting. The lightener will dry out if it's not too saturated, and you're actually going to sit there with lightener longer, or you're going to have to go back through and reapply that lightener, okay? So great thing about 10 volume is it will just keep going and going and going. And that's why even with the Blonde Life Powder Lightener, it is incredible, especially to start at lower levels. For any of my Joico people out there that use the product, you guys know how amazing is the Blonde Life Powder. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and Michelle, I'm just going to turn your head a little to the side. So I'm actually going to take an even larger section to leave out. As I go back, the sections will space out even more. So the lowlights are going to go from teeny, teeny, tiny to larger, to larger, to larger. So that is phase 2 of this incredible blending, okay? Phase 1 is you're going to over direct and let that foil live in the same spot forward. The second one is to tease once, then go to your next one, tease twice, tease 3 times, and then to take the lowlights larger and larger and larger, okay? Bring you back to me. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking an even larger section for that low light. And I can start to see where some of my old lowlights were. And now I'm revisiting that spot that I previously did this Stairmaster technique on. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Which developer are you using on her?
I'm actually using a 10 volume developer on her. So I like to use lower volumes around the face. And then as I work my way back, I'm not doing a full technique. We're just doing the front, and I'm going to show you the layered low lighting. But with that being said, I can start with 10 around the front, and then I could use 20 towards the other side and 15. Okay, so mentioned second part of blending. I only did 1.5 tees. Now I'm gonna do like 2.5 tees, and I'm also gonna go lower, so more depth, okay? So 1, 2, 2 tees, okay? Go into my baby light form. Okay, make sure you're pushing that tease up to get it out of your way. And now, the over direction of everything, this foil is going to live in the same spot as the other foils, okay? And it is the most coolest looking thing once I'm done, because it actually looks like a staircase. So that's why we call it the Stairmaster technique, which Courtney came up with, my assistant. So I'm laying this right on top, right here. Same spot, full saturation. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so is the low light just going to be her natural hair color, or do you have a separate formula for that?
I actually have a separate formula because she is a little bit bright at the bottom because her old lights have already faded out. But I'm going to show you a formula in order to really create and enhance that low light look, but not make it that it's so dark at the top to so dark at the bottom, okay? I'll explain a little bit when I'm gonna do that. Okay, so of course, this piece is light, these pieces a little darker. I'm gonna foil back up from here. Okay, now I'm gonna take an even bigger section going back, okay? So I'm gonna take a bigger section, and I could already start to see where my last piece was. And now we're gonna leave out that low light part right here. I'm gonna gather just a tiny bit more. We're gonna leave out that low light section, and now I'm going to tease how many times? 3 times. 1, oh, lower. Make sure it goes even lower than last time. 2, 3. So I want to show you guys something as I'm doing this, which is very interesting. And that's why I call it my 6 foil. So do you see already how I'm starting to reach back up to those highlights? Okay. I'm not there just yet, but I'm getting close, which means if I have teased and I have sectioned properly, that if I'm meeting these highlights in the back forward, it's going to be beautifully blended towards the back, okay? That's why this technique is so cool, because you can actually see where it's going to blend because of the symmetry of your sectioning. So I'm not there yet, but I'm almost there, okay? Make sure you put your chin back just a smidge. Back. What's back? Back. Okay. So I'm going right here. Just feathering that section up, okay? And then, of course, I'm going back through my section. Do we have any questions?
Not at this time.
So, guys, keep in mind, Joico is actually doing a massive giveaway until the end of the year. They're actually giving away $1,000 per week for one hairstylist until the end of the year. So you only have a few more weeks left, so make sure you enter. They'll put the link below. Also, they have the coolest page right now with Behind the Chair. It's actually a Behind the Chair partnership page. So this page, you can actually go on to there and you can get a free sample of the Blonde Life powder that I'm actually using right now. So they'll put the link in below in the comments, and you'll be able to actually put your information in there and get a free sample of the Blonde Life, which is amazing. On that page, there is so much education by myself. I know Jill and Ricardo and Larissa and all my other friends on the Joico team are actually on there with a bunch of their education as well. And that will live, this video will live on that page as well, okay? So now, what am I gonna do again? I'm going to take an even bigger section going back, okay? She's getting a little taller now. Get an even bigger section going back, okay? And now what I'm going to do is, do you see how these highlights are almost there? They're almost meeting that area, okay? So I'm gonna just take that section, all right? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go lower, okay? Because before I started my tease up here, going like this, went a little lower, went a little lower, a little lower. So now I'm gonna go right here, because when you tease low, for those of you who are just tuning in right now, when you tease low, that means that there's more depth going up, okay? So we're gonna do 4 of those now. 2, 3, 4, okay? Do you see how this highlight is almost meeting that area? So we're almost there. I think I'll probably just do one more of these. So make sure you guys are actually sharing this video on your Facebook page to your friends, so they are able and eligible to see this video as well. And I have a feeling my next one that I'm going to do, I'm actually not going to have to do. And I'll show you guys why. So do you guys all see how these foils are living in the same exact space on her hair? Okay, so now I'm going to take an even bigger space going back, right? I'm going to take an even bigger space going back. Put your chin down for me, Mama. There you go. Take an even bigger space. And I could see right here, this is a little bit of her low light. So I don't want to put that in there. I want that to go back this way. I'm going to take just a tiny baby section. And then, now we're going to do 5 teases back, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just going to do a very, very small one, because this is almost like fading away, right? It's like fading away those balayage pieces. And I'm putting it again right at the top. So this is actually going to be my last section for right here. Do a little fade at the top. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Do you tease first and then weave, or weave then tease?
I tease and then weave. That is a great question. I always tease first and then from there, because if you tease first, if you weave first, you're taking out so much hair that there's nothing to push. There's no shorter pieces to push up. So the whole point of this foliage balayage look is to take those very tiny pieces, right? And you want them to be pushed up, so the ends, the longest pieces, are light at the bottom, okay? So if you're weaving first and you're getting rid of those pieces, but those pieces go all the way down to the bottom, you're not gonna receive that lightness at the bottom. You're wanting to tease up the smaller pieces first, so that your ends is right where you wanna see that lightness, okay? Okay, so I actually want to show you guys what this looks like from the side, so you can get like a full spectrum visual, okay? So do you guys see? No, you don't. Do you guys see how this literally looks like a stair? Can you look whichever way? Yeah, there, that way, perfect. Can you guys see how this actually looks like a staircase? Okay, so what's gonna end up happening is, when I go, I'm gonna even turn you more. There you go. Can you take a picture of this? This is cool. So by doing this and over directing, okay, you're gonna bring that hair forward and it's going to live in the same exact space. Okay, so this is what a side angle looks like. And then when you elevate it forward, so that is how you're getting almost like that fade away within the hair. And then this is how it's going to sit, almost like a mohawk or like something reptilian, I guess, from the back. All right, so I'm gonna post her right here. And now I'm actually just, I'm just gonna do a few on the side just to kind of connect this. So think about it like this. A lot of people say, like if I was going to do like a full, right, like a full one of these and not just kind of like a pick-me-up look, how would you do the sides? Okay, so I'm not gonna do the sides like that. I'm just gonna give you a demonstration of how I would, all right? So turn this way, perfect. So think about it like this. If I was going to do the same exact technique on her, I would go right to the root, okay? And that foil would live right here. That foil would live right here. And then I'm gonna take a small section, leave it out, okay? But then this is the section that I'm actually going to foil. So I would put that foil back in the same exact position, like a Stairmaster. So meaning that that foil would live right here. So number one, do you see the space in between? Okay. And then what's going to happen is if I take another little sliver out and I take on this piece and I'm over directing this all the way forward, it's going to live right here. So do you see how much space that is? That's why this technique is so successful, because not only are you utilizing how many teases, right, with symmetry, how many teases you're going in between, you're also delegating how high your tease is or how low your tease is. You start out high, and then as you get towards the back, you get even lower. And then on top of that, I told you guys, I hardly have to do melts anymore because of this technique. And then on top of that, I take a bit wider and wider sections as I go back. Okay, so this really just enhances that gradients in the entirety of the hair. So for now, because we didn't do her hair that long ago, we're actually just gonna do just maybe a few around the side. I'm gonna just do like 2 back to back. And I can answer all of your questions while I'm doing this.
How many foils did you say you were gonna do on either side?
I'm just gonna do 2. I'm just gonna do 2 back to back on each side, just to kind of like entertain this lightness around the front, because her hair wasn't done that long ago, but it's the holidays. She wants a little bit of that brightness right around the front. So that's kind of why we decided to do this technique on her, to just give her a little pick-me-up. Any other questions?
Yes. Which lightener are you using?
I'm actually using the Blonde Life Lightener, and Joico and Behind the Chair actually just teamed up, and they have a page that they'll post in the comments below. And on this page, you'll actually be able to go on there and you can receive a free sample of the Blonde Life Powder Lightener. So that's 9 levels plus of lift, and you can get it for free. So let me, as I'm kind of doing this, I'm just going to mention on her hair that these little baby hairs, I don't want to touch them. Okay, I don't want to touch the baby hairs. I will actually leave them out. And the reason why I leave them out is because sometimes when they're blonder, you see them more. But also too, sometimes when they're more blonde or lighter, it looks like breakage. Okay, and it looks like you did that breakage. So that's why a lot of times I'll actually leave out those pieces, unless she was like a blonde such as myself. Okay. So what I do is I kind of comb those out, or I'll leave them behind. And I'll kind of put them behind the foil just like that. And keep in mind, this look, we're not doing this look for her to be blonde. We want her to be blonde. We want her to be a blonde ale tonality of dimension throughout her entire hair. Any more questions, Mama?
Yes. Which developer are you working with currently for the sides?
So I'm actually on the sides, I'm using the same 10 volume developer. If I was doing more than 2 foils, I would start moving into like a 15, just to kind of move along that, working in layers of my tonality, or my developers. So again, just a tiny, less of me, more of Michelle, sorry. A little bit more of her. And do you guys see how I kind of lock in my foils with my pinky pointer technique? Okay, so that really allows me to push that foil right up so I can get right to the root. Okay, any more questions, Mendel?
Yes. That foil right there at the hairline. Did you tease that one?
No, I did not. I did these two back to back. So I actually did these two in the front back to back. So I'm mimicking the same thing on the side, just back to back. And like I had mentioned before, like maybe it doesn't translate. Maybe it looks really dark on camera actually, but she didn't get her hair done that long ago. So it's going to match up just fine. We really just want to make it that she's brighter around the face, and it's okay if she has that backing of depth in her hair right around the sides. We just want to make sure that if she wants to have the option of putting her hair up, that it just kind of has cohesion around the hairline. Okay, so I'm going to work on her other side. And then right after I do this is when I'm actually going to start my layered low lighting. So just to give you guys an idea, I'm going to just turn this a little bit. Just to give you guys an idea with the layer low lighting, it's really cool because what ends up happening is sometimes when you have these darker pieces and you bring them all the way to the bottom, it actually looks way too dark. It looks way too dark on her hair. We don't want to do that. Sometimes when you emulate the ashiness of the actual root tonality against a more golden tone, it can look greenish. It can look muddy. It doesn't have a good separation. So that is what layered toning actually allows me to do, is to really melt and create cohesion in the hair as if the sun did it itself, okay? And that's kind of what the original formation of the foliage and balayage and everyage that there is to emulate what the sun has done, right? So again, I'm just going right up to the root. You can kind of see, turn just a little towards the camera. You see some of her little babies. I don't want to touch them, right? I don't want to create that breakage look on her. She made that herself. I didn't make that, okay? So right here. And also, pro tip, make sure that your highlight that's on the side matches right up to, turn just a little bit, to her foil. Because if there's a big gap right here and she pulls her hair back, it's going to look blonde, right? Blonde. And then you're going to just see this line gap right there. So make sure they match up, okay? And as you can tell, these are just very teeny tiny babies, because if I were to do a heavy foil on the side, that's where I would have to worry about connecting these colors. I don't want to do that. I just want to kind of make its own color back to the dimension of her hair. Has anyone ever used, I'm not doing it on this one, but I'm just curious, has anyone ever used base breakers on clients before? And if so, I would love to hear your, I guess, review of base breakers, because Michelle, I'm not going to do it, but Michelle would actually be a really good candidate of a base breaker, because what base breakers end up doing is we're already going for like a warm tone on her right now anyways. But what I feel like what ends up happening is sometimes when their hair is so naturally ashy, okay, hear me out. When their hair is so naturally ashy and there's gold at the bottom, let's just say gold, right? Or blonde or blonde ale, right? What ends up happening is it makes, because this is ash, look even darker. So what the base breaker does is it actually will bump up to a half a level to a level. So half a level is 5 minutes, and Joico Vero has a base breaker. I use it with 20 volume on wet hair. It bumps it up just a half level or even one full level at 10 minutes. So 5 minutes at a half a level. And what that ends up doing is it takes that hair from an ash to almost like a neutral. Okay, that's why I kind of like a half a layer. It makes it more neutral to seamlessly blend out. So you know, sometimes even with balayage, there's like kind of that like warm spot that exists. So what it does is it actually, when the base breaker lifts up from that ash, it actually helps to seamlessly blur out those lines where the hair meets the ends, especially when the hair is a lot darker at the top, okay? So just a little pro tip. What's everyone's experience that you're reading on their court?
Kayla says she uses it all the time and she loves it.
Awesome. Guys, this is literally the last foil, so this was like perfect. Perfect for what we're doing. Sometimes, you know, people say they're like, oh, base breakers, I don't understand what they do. How do they work? I'll do a full video one day, and Behind the Chair will invite me back, and I'll do a full video on just base breakers alone, because I really think that they're super significant and also a really awesome, like, upgraded service in order to do on your clients. So, you know, pricing wise, not necessarily that I'm going to give you a price because it depends on your area, whatever. Whatever you would charge for a toner is what you would charge for a base breaker. That's my best rule of thumb. Also, too, if you're using products like Defy Damage, the Pro Series, #1 and #2, whatever you would charge for a toner is what I would charge for that add-on service, okay? All right, so we're going to actually go right into, so everyone who's just tuning in right now, I'm doing a Brond Ale look, which is a mixture of cool and warm tones inside of the hair. So just so I can refresh your guys' memory real quick, this is the way that we started out. That's you guys. Hold on. This is the way that we started out. So what I'm going to do with this layered toning is I'm actually going to break up some of this brightness down here, and I'm going to bring that dimension down to make her hair pop even more. And then you guys can kind of see we were kind of going into that black hole route here. And I'm also going to break up some of this lightness down here to really bring that brondy, ale color throughout. So my formula for today, I have my trusty, what do you call this thing? Scale. My trusty scale. One thing that I love to do, super amazing pro tip, is I actually like to write down which formula is which using a dry erase marker on top of my bowl so I don't get mixed up. Another thing that I do is I always, at the salon, I always, without fail, put lightener in light bowls and toner in dark bowls. With that being said too, my toner brushes, always dark ones, and then my lightener ones, always white, blue, anything that's more colorful. So my darks with my toners, and then my lights with my lightener. Make sense? Okay. Thought that was a good little tip for you guys. So that is that. So always with the Defy Damage liquid, I use the 5 volume because we are not lifting, we are depositing only. So let me give you guys like a little insight into the Joy Code. This is the Natural Warm series. So I actually just found this and I thought it would be really cool to show you guys just kind of like the swatches. This is what I'm going to be using today. So these are all the colors that they have in the Nude Warm series right here. This also does come in permanent, and it comes in permanent and also comes in demi-permanent cream. So today I'm going to be using the liquid. I love the liquid colors on her hair. So I'm going to be living in kind of like this space right here with her layered low lighting. So that is a 6NW. I'm going to be mixing up. So this is the thing. I want to emulate her color at the root into this warm natural tone that I'm going for, okay? So that's the cool thing about doing this layered low lighting. My first formula is going to be 5, they'll put this on the comments, don't worry. It'll be 5N, just straight 5N, Lumishine liquid demi with 5 volume, okay? So I'm gonna actually bring you guys over to my little station right here. So this is my 5N, okay, liquid Lumishine. And I'll probably do, I won't use too much of this because I'm just going to do more of those low lights around the front and just a few sprinkled throughout the back. Do we have any questions?
Everyone's so excited to see the low lights and how you do the layered toning.
Yes. Yes, you know what? I think that this layer toning is the best look, especially for people that are very, very nervous about doing lowlights for the first time because they're afraid they're going to be too muddy. Or it's really good for you if you're nervous. If you're nervous to do low lighting, this is a good way that's kind of introductory in order to kind of get this kind of like natural look. So you can even see on this beautiful model that Larissa did how gorgeous this hair color is, how shiny it is. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually going at her ends. I'm going to do a drop of 7N. This is my second formula. Okay, guys, 7N with 8NW. Okay, so natural warm inside of her hair. Okay, I kind of shake them up just a little bit, not too much. So the specs of this is I'm going to use 1 ounce of 8NW to ½ an ounce of 7N, okay? And then I'm going to mix that with our 5 volume developer. I feel like I'm doing a cooking show right now. This is great. Okay, so mix that up. And for you guys that are just tuning in right now, this live will be saved, okay? This live will be saved. It's going to live on the partner page of Behind the Chair and Joico. On that Joico page, you'll be able to see this video. You'll be able to get all the formulas. We have some really cool videos from some of our other educators on there, so they will actually post the link and you'll be able to see it, okay? So going right into our layered low lighting. For those of you guys that are just tuning in, I'm going to show you really quickly how cool this Stairmaster technique looks like. So if you missed it, you can go back and watch it later on. So you see how it actually looks like, stairs, right? Very cool, very seamless. So now what I'm going to go back into, can you grab me those foils, please? So I am not, let me repeat, I am not putting lowlights in her hair around the front, okay? Why am I not doing that? Because I want this brightness around the front. I want to reach that brightness at the top to the bottom, okay? I want her to have that gorgeous, gorgeous money piece. But what I am gonna do is I'm going to take this front piece, all right? So just for demonstration purposes, I have 2 foils right here. I am then going to take half of this piece and I'm going to slice my lowlights. Let me explain to you why. I slice my lowlights because how many times have you guys weaved, first of all, your lowlights and they disappear? Michelle's a hairstylist, so she knows. We weaved our lowlights and then they disappear in the hair. Number 2, how many times have you tried to go back into those lowlights to find them to just weave again out those lowlights? What ends up happening is if you take a small enough slice, you'll have more visibility. You'll have more visibility as to where those lowlights are in the hair. So if you want to create this repeated effect on their next appointment, you can see it. That's what the Stairmaster technique does, right? Creates visibility. That's what the layered toning technique does. It creates visibility. I don't like guessing games. I don't like trying to figure out where my highlights are, where my lowlights are. This creates more contention inside the hair, okay? So I'm taking just a teeny tiny slice, okay? And I just want to make sure that that tease from the back is not in there. And I'm going to go around the front. So do you guys notice how these are different foils? They're much longer. They're much longer. They're much wider. These are actually called Artistry Foils. So for 2 reasons is why I actually use a different set of foils, because I want to know where those lowlights are. I want to know where those highlights are. I want my assistant, if she's helping me out at the sink, to know which ones are highlights and lowlights if I'm not paying attention or I forget. So by using 2 different foils, 2 different sizes, 2 different colors, whatever you want, it allows the assistant, allows you to know. It just takes the learning curve off of figuring out, especially when you're washing out the hair. So right here. So where I'm going to be putting, can you just label these for me too? Like I had mentioned before, I use a dry erase marker to label. So that one is, this first formula is 5N, okay? 5N liquid Lumishine with 5 volume, okay? So I'm not going up here. I'm just going right here because I want to drag that root. I want to drag that root down right here. And then this is where my next formula, see how cool these foils are because they go all the way down, okay? That way I can avoid having to really overfoil the hair or swivel it up. So because you need to have, what's the word? Because you want it to look nice, right? And you're using 2 different formulas, you don't want to fold this over because then you're just putting in that bottom foil formula right on top of the top one. So you don't want to do that. Does that make sense? Everything? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Michelle. You're welcome. So my lower one, and this one is 7N mixed with 8NW, okay? So what I am going to do though is I'm actually just going to fold this one because I'm not crossing over, okay? And then I'm folding this up. So now I'm not over blending anything. I'm creating that separation inside of my foils. Okay. And then my next one. So like I had said before, for you guys that were watching this technique, I create even bigger and bigger and bigger sections going back. I don't want to necessarily low light this entire section. I just want to low light half of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the first. I'm going to do the back side. I'm always going to do the back side of this low light in slices. Do we have any questions? I know I'm talking a lot.
Everyone loves the technique. They say they can't wait to try it out.
Yay. Yeah, you guys send me your, your Stairmasters, your layered low lighting techniques to my Instagram page, which is at OMG Artistry. They'll post the link on there. When you do it on your clients, I want to see. And then I'll repost you. Okay, so 5N, right? Put your chin back just a little bit. Okay, so that's 5N just to bring that color down just a smidgy. Okay. And then going back in with my 7N and 8NW formula at the bottom. Any questions?
I do have a question regarding base breakers.
Yeah.
So when you do the base breaker, do you skip the toner or do you also do a toner?
So with base breakers, do I skip the toner? No. So I actually will base break first. The cool base breakers will actually pre-tone your ends, which is actually kind of nice for some people that are really, really warm. It'll help to pre-tone those, and then I will just put a toner right on top of it. But you have to adjust your toner if you're going to pre-tone, if you're not just putting it at the roots. So I have a little bit of that left over from here. Going back, so now this section is, this is left out from my other. So I'm not taking this whole section, taking half of this section. Okay. Again, using a different foil because that way I can see, I can have a distinction when I go to wash out the hair, which one's a low light and which one's a highlight. And I will say, guys, when I'm at the salon and I'm rinsing out my low lights for my Lumishine formula, I love the fact that they rinse right out. They don't hang around on the highlights. They're really, really good about that. I don't feel like they bleed into your other areas. Now, of course, I'm a very careful hairstylist, but it really makes a huge difference. And the Lumishine is 2 times the shine in the hair It's up to 30 shampoos. You can just see like the viscosity of the product. It doesn't drip at all, which is extremely impressive, especially for low lighting sometimes, or just even when you're doing melting. You really want a formula that's not too liquidy, because sometimes when it's too liquidy, that's when we start to have an issue with dripping, and then it doesn't look good. So we don't want that. So I love the viscosity of this. So I have two more low lights that I'm going to do. Do we have any other questions?
Yes. Can you please explain how you decide where to start your 5N, the first formula?
Yeah, so realistically, so I'm thinking in my head, okay, so kind of like how I did my teasing effect, the question is, how would I know where to start my 5N? So I'm going to do very, very, very little 5N around the front, right? Because that's my darker color. As I get more and more into it, my 5N is going to come lower and lower and lower. So again, the seamless blend of it all to create more brightness around the front, higher up to go to darker brightness towards the back, so that your 5N is going to live just a little bit lower as you go back. Okay, I love that. I didn't even think to say that. Thank you. Again, taking slices, not the front piece, just the back piece. And I'm taking that 5N just a little lower. Turn your head just a little towards, yep, perfect. Taking that 5N just a little lower than I have been, just to create more depth, okay? And then going right into the bottom. And do you see how my hair is starting to hang over right here? Even if I wanted to, I could slide these foils down just a tiny bit from the scalp, because I don't have any color up there, so it's fine. And then gather these at the bottom, okay? So also, if you guys ever do, if you ever have a client that has gray, the Lumishine liquid is actually really good for blending grays. So they also have these same exact colors in a demi cream, which covers up even more. So demi creams are really great for people that don't want to commit to a permanent hair color. I do a lot of my color melts with demi cream for more coverage. If I use my demi liquids, it's because I want a more sheer finish. So a lot of people ask me, well, is the cream darker? Well, technically it's more pigmented. So in a sense, you could say yes, but I would say that it's not that it's darker. It's just that the liquids are more sheer, okay? There's more transparency in them. You could look at it kind of like a cloth. Actually, Gina Bianca uses the underwear technique where she says it's like cotton panties is the cream, and then lace is like the liquid. So if that gives you a good analogy. Yeah, right? So again, this is going to be my last layered low light around the front, because at this point, her dark is already going down to here. There may be like a few shards of like highlights and stuff like that, but her depth is already going down. So I'm already meeting her darkness and her blend, okay? So actually, I'm just gonna take that just because I'm gonna create new consistency in the hair. So then I'm taking my 5N and I'm going even lower. Any questions?
Yes. Can we get a close-up and an explanation on how you fold the foils with the two
Yeah, you guys want a close-up of how I do the foils? So this is my 5N. This is my 5N right here, okay? And then this is my 7N with 8NW mixture. And I'm bringing this down at the bottom. So do you see how I'm already losing hair down here? So what I can do is I can actually, because there's nothing at the top, I can just pull that down just a tiny bit to give myself more room. And then how I fold this, so I can see that this is where my 5N ends and then my 7 begins. So what I do is I fold this just once over to let it live in the same section, okay? And then I fold this part over here. But keep in mind, you see how wide this is? This width is sitting up here, Okay, so it's not like I'm taking wet pieces and I'm putting it at the top where there is no product, okay? How much more time do we have?
5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So I can actually take a few more questions and I'm gonna do one more low light. So rack in your questions, guys. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, there is a Behind the Chair partnership page, and you can rewatch this video. You can share with the owners of your salon, other hairstylist friends, and make sure that you guys recreate these techniques and tag Behind the Chair and Joico. And if you want, you could tag me at OMG Artistry as well. Any more?
Yes. What would you recommend for maintenance for this client products to take home?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I would actually, you know what? This is going to be my last one from here because I'm seeing how depthy. You see how depthy her low lights are all the way down here. So I'm just going to let this tonality live. So just to show you guys, now she's under there. I promise. Okay, perfect. All right, my love, you are perfect. I'll give you guys a final look. So we're gonna actually let her hair, we're gonna diffuse it later on. So I'll have some after pictures available for you guys tomorrow. So what I would recommend for this client is, of course, using all of the K-Packs. So this is Color Therapy. This one smells so delicious. It is a great product for any of your clients that do have color on their hair. It preserves and it also helps to repair damage. Really, really amazing. So this is the shampoo. This is the conditioner. And then, of course, I would recommend a mask for them always, always, always. Maybe like once a week. I have something called mask and multitask. So I'll actually put the mask on before I get in the shower for like 20 minutes. And then I'll have them shampoo and conditioner like normal. I also love our K-Pack. This is the Color Therapy Oil, which is really good for enhancing the shine. It is so beautiful. So yeah, I always send my clients home with products, okay, because we want them to keep up with the same looks that we're recreating at the salon. So they come back and their hair is beautiful, shiny, and healthy. It makes our jobs easier and it makes their life better. So I'm gonna use that. And then also after I'm done washing her, I'm gonna do a toner of the 10 NW with 5 volume all over her hair. So we still have a little bit more work to do after this. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for our afters, all the formulas. So thank you so much Behind the Chair for having us. I'm done here and I really appreciate you guys. If you have any more last minute questions Behind the Chair, I know you're back there, I can answer a few.
Can you repeat what you're toning all over with?
I'm toning her all over with the 10 NW from Joico. It is the Lumishine liquid with 5 volume. Any more questions? No questions? All right, guys, cool. So we'll have the pictures. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. And thank you, Courtney, in the back. And I appreciate you guys and have a really good rest of your week. Bye.